Hi, I'm Fred. This is Wood Tools Workshop. In our last video, we built a jig to drill a hole through a dowel, through the center of a dowel. A simple V cut down through the middle of a board. But drilling through the center of the dowel is not the only trick this pony can do. For example, you can use it to mark the center of the dowel on the end. Let's take a look at that. First, the easy part. We have our angle cut into the wood. Now, because this is two 45s as seen from this side of the wood, it's a 90 at the peak or point of the angle itself. We can take a dowel, put it in our groove. If it will fit in the groove, then we're in business. Okay, let's hold this guy down. Now, what we want to do is find exactly 1/2 of this angle. And because this is a 90-degree angle, half of it's 45, and we can get that by going right up the middle of the groove, right at the peak of it, with a straight edge. Let me get a good bite on the edge. There we go. Okay. And there is the center of our dowel. Again, different dowel. Make sure that we've got a good bite on the edge of it here so we're actually at 90 degrees. There's the center of our dowel. Now, the neat thing about this is it doesn't have to be a 90-degree angle that you put your dowel into. Any angle will work as long as you can find half of it. So if you had a dowel that would fit in this angle and you could find half of that angle, then you'd be able to find the center of the dowel. So for example, say we were doing a 45-degree angle and we found a dowel that would fit in the 45 degrees. Let's be sure it touches both sides. And we'd find the center of the dowel by drawing a line with a straight edge at 22.5 degrees, because that would be half of 45. So you can do it with any angle that you can fit your dowel into and then find half of that angle. Another thing we can use our jig for is sanding the end of the dowel. You ever tried to hold a dowel exactly 90 degrees to a sander and sand the end of it? First, let's be sure that the sander itself is set at 90 degrees. And now we can clamp our jig to it. And we want to make sure that we've got 90 degrees going in this direction as well as vertically. So, let's take this purple off. Okay, so we can sand 90 degrees using our jig. How about 45 degrees? Hey. So again, let's be sure we're at 90 degrees. We'll use the miter gauge set on 45 degrees. And let's clamp our jig to the miter gauge. Let's color in on this guy so we can be sure that we're effective. about splitting a dowel down the middle? Well, the obvious thing to do is split the jig down the middle. Split it down the middle enough to get a blade up in it, in the jig, and then it's that added measure of rigidity as you push the dowel across it. I really don't like the idea of pushing the dowel and sliding it on the jig as much as I like the idea of splitting the jig about halfway and then moving the jig and the dowel both together. There's less chance of the dowel twisting when you do it that way. So, let's go. I've been thinking about ways to trick these guys out a little bit, not have them be so basic, just a board with a groove cut in it. One thing that would be nice would be if I didn't have to use a clamp to hold the dowel in place. If the jig itself had something built in that would hold the dowel. And so I was thinking something that you attach to the body of the jig like this. And it has one of these that screws down through a threaded insert to hold the dowel in place. And what would be even cooler would be if you had two of those, or if they were movable, if they weren't just stationary in one point on the jig. So that's something that I intend to implement later on. If some of you guys want to get a jump on me and go ahead and do that, then do it and send me a picture of what you did. We'll put it up on the website, woodtoolsworkshop.com. You guys check it out.